Appreciate the time this morning and really just wanted to chat with you about your son and daughter's experience with the ACT and preparation. So if you wouldn't mind just open-endedly giving the audience just a quick background on where you guys started and how the experience was.
Sure, of course. So I have twins, a boy and a girl, that did their ACT tutoring with Scott a couple years ago, and they had, really a great success story. Both of them, took the test the first time, and they both increased their score by like 7 points. So they both had really great increases with Scott, and in a very like short amount of tutoring time. So it didn't take them long to see those kind of good results, which we were happy with.
Yeah, and I think with your son, it was what, 5 sessions or so? Was
He saw that 7 point increase in just 5 sessions, and my daughter, I think she had 12 sessions.
Yeah.
So we saw
And
they were able to get to the score they wanted, in just a very targeted number of sessions.
but what were the end results there for each your son and daughter?
My son ended up with a 36, and my daughter ended up with a 33 and a super score of 34.
That's great. It was
They were happy.
I was so happy for them that their hard work translated. And so in thinking about how we work together, what do you think were one or two things that stood out that really helped your son and daughter?
I think that the content that you went over with them was very applicable to what they needed to know. So I think you had a very targeted approach to working with them on exactly what they needed to work on, to get their scores to increase, and giving them the right tools and the right practice that they needed to get to their goal in just a short period of time. I think you know the test very well, and you know what they need to work on to do well, and that's what we saw in my son and daughter scores.
Awesome. If you had any advice for prospective parents thinking about the ACT prep landscape, like what would you advise on that?
It seems like the test is something that can be studied for. And I think if you're with someone like you who knows the test well, then I think that it going through the motions and doing the hard work and doing the work that you tell them to do will get them to the score that they want to be at.
Absolutely. And where did they end up at the end of the day?
So my son ended up at the University of North Carolina, and my daughter is at University of Michigan. And they're both in the business school. She's in the Ross School of Business, and my son is in the business school at UNC.
Great.
And also, I just wanted to add one more thing. I think that you are very, you're very relatable to the students. So I think that you can connect with them in a way that they can relate to, so that they actually buy into what you want them to do and are willing to do it. And I, as a parent, I felt like you were very honest with me about their readiness for the test, and you weren't doing kind of unnecessary tutoring. Like when they were ready, and you felt like they had reached their potential, you let us know. So those are two things that I really appreciated.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the kind words, and again, like it was such a pleasure working with everyone, and seeing those scores. I mean, that must have been exciting for both of them as they came through.
They were, and it helped them. It helped them get into the schools that they wanted to get into. So it was great. We thank you.
That's awesome. Great. Well, thank you again so much for the time, and we will be sure to stay in touch.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Thank you.